All right. So thank you so much, Sabbir, for joining me today. This is our third episode of the Environmental Science Graduate Students podcast. We've been doing these podcasts to bring the department closer together while we're far apart due to COVID. And today I'm really excited to be talking with you. We have the title of our talk today, the kind of focus. Sabbir Ahmed is a father, PhD student, and Grad Slam finalist. We're going to get updates on his life and research. I also want to, just a point of housekeeping, I just want to have a disclaimer that the UC Riverside does not endorse anything that we're going to discuss today. We're just two friends, colleagues, talking together about life and research.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll let you introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, thank you, Win, for inviting this podcast, and I really appreciate this. Yeah. And yeah, you already mentioned, so I am Sabbir. So I am a fourth year PhD student, and my major is environmental toxicology. And I am working with Dr. Ying-Hsuan, and my research topic is pretty much focusing on toxic aerosol, mostly particulate matter, secondary organic aerosol, and even e-cigarette and vaping emissions and their health effects. So I'm using human aeroepithelial lung cells and eventually expose them to different, particle or particle of interest. And then I do some, I use some omics approaches and eventually to find some health effects. So what is the health effect of some particulate matter, secondary organic aerosol? Yeah, this is pretty much from my side. Yeah.
Awesome. So I remember I saw you as a Grad Slam finalist. I think it was last year, the year before, right?
2019, yeah.
Yeah, 2019. Man, everything feels like time is just like dragging on these days with COVID.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can't even remember what year it is anymore.
True.
So, okay, 2019, you were a Grad Slam finalist. I would love to, we can share like what your project was, when you were doing the Grad Slam, because it was awesome. And I'd love for you to tell that story. But then also maybe how that's changed and how it's evolved since then. I think would be so cool.
Oh yeah, so basically when I was participating in the Grad Slam, so I was working one of my project. It was diesel exhaust particle. So basically we had a collaboration with CSERT. They work with emission, lots of emission from different fuel. So they are trying to make different kind of fuels. Okay, so different blend containing with aromatic and ethanol levels. So the thing is, I presented that work, like how particulate matter affect the human health. And I would say like, okay, this is really a great experience for me because this is a 3 minutes presentation. So you can basically deliver your work in 3 minutes. So that's kind of tough. And eventually you cannot use any jargon, scientific, words.
Yeah.
You need to deliver it to the common people. There are lots of people, they are not from my background. So I needed to simplify it really. So that was really the tough part, but I really enjoyed this, event. So just wanted to let you know, like there was more than 50 participants at the very first, and we were 10 at the last in the final round. And another thing I want to share, basically I awarded for the audience choice award on that event. Yeah. So that's the another, good thing. Basically, I got awarded, and yeah, and eventually, another thing is like, okay, so if you can, tell something about your research to the common people, and if someone is appreciating that's really another good thing. So I really enjoyed that event, and eventually, it really helped me a lot how to speak to the public place and eventually the common people. And I feel like I'm kind of confident now how to deliver or how to concise my research and deliver to the other people. And I believe this experience will help me for my future career. Like, okay, if someone is telling me like, okay, how about your research? I will be able to simplify that and definitely, deliver to the people like who is about to, you know, who is about to interest on my project or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I remember you gave a really great presentation. You had like a awesome narrative that was really cohesive, and then at the end you kind of like left us with this big message about the about how to fuel our cars better.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I thought that was great. So are you still working on that project, or
Oh
has
yeah.
that?
So yeah, that I missed that point. Basically, yeah, I already finished that project and it's been published already. But I am working on another project that is for diesel exhaust particle. It's basically continuation. So I was working on the gasoline exhaust particle. So now it's diesel exhaust particle. Still, yeah, my third project is pretty much focusing on diesel exhaust particle. So I'm using primary epithelial cell. Basically, this time I'm using two types of cell, healthy and diseased. So disease is COPD. So disease model, and healthy. Then I will see, okay, which group is susceptible to diesel exhaust particle. So that will be my very last project, and I'm working on that now.
Oh, cool. Awesome. It's so great to hear that that research is continuing on. I'm really looking forward to all of those results, and hopefully we'll see some changes in our world from the research that you're doing. Have people start, creating better fuels that are going to be less harmful to people.
Yeah, so I really like this topic because, we are inhaling,
Yeah.
breathing, right? So every day.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we need to reduce the level of the, toxic particulate
Right.
matter. And eventually the overall air quality is important. And California even owes, right? The California Air Research Board, they were working on the, air quality of California. So basically now California is giving you the more, clean fuel, right? This is due to the research. People are finding, okay, so this is the toxic. We need to reduce this level. We need to we need to make a blend that can reduce the particulate matter or harmful gases or something, so
Yeah.
that has the less effect on the air. So this is kind of thing that directly contribute to the public health.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's thanks for that work that you're doing. I know there's a lot of people who have respiratory issues, especially here in Southern California.
Yeah.
We have a history of having a lot of bad air
Mm.
quality problems, but
Yeah.
those have really been remedied thanks to researchers like yourself at UC Riverside really pushing forward all of this great science um, to assist managers and policymakers to make decisions, science-based decisions. And now, we can see the mountains around here. I always hear that,
Mhm.
like back in the
Yeah.
day, couldn't even see the mountains. There wasn't a day of the year you could see the mountains. Now we see these mountains all over the place, and they're
Yeah.
beautiful. It's a good place to live. I'm really thankful
Mhm.
for the work that's been done here at UCR and in your lab. Um,
Yeah.
so another thing I really wanted to talk about was your experience as a father and being a graduate student too. I know you have a child, and I'd love to hear. I don't have any children myself, and I'd love to hear what your experience is like being a graduate student while being a parent, and what are your
Yeah. Yeah. I thought, like, it's kind of different experience. Like when I joined UCR, basically, I can still remember. So we had our orientation. So it was September 25th, and my kid like his name is Arham. So he just born on 24th. So immediately, kind of same age of my PhD, and eventually joining the grad school. So
Oh wow! Oh,
so
that's
yeah, it's basically, yeah, it's a great wonderful feelings, like your father, like you have a kid, that's kind of different feeling. But doing PhD is kind of another part, like, okay, so you need to take care of your child, and eventually I have family right now. My wife putting lots of effort on that. That's why it is possible for me. You know the grad life, right?
Yeah.
So you need to stay for a long time, in the lab. Eventually, at the early stage, it was really tough because I had my coursework, and I was lucky because I had my master's. So I did my master's
Right.
back in Tennessee State University.
Yeah.
So that's why I needed to take just only core course. So
Hmm.
that was the good thing. So still, at the very first, it was really tough for me because new experience, being a parent, definitely. And my wife really helped me a lot. And eventually, she's kind of sacrificing her career now. We had a
Right.
commitment basically, yeah. So now our
Yeah.
house is above 3. So yeah,
Yeah.
she had a plan to go to school as well. So but early days it was difficult, but now we already manage everything. Now he's growing, and eventually I am in a good shape in my research, and eventually my career planning, and academic life. So I think right now
Right.
I'm feeling pretty, comfortable. But early days it was kind of difficult, but it is not that difficult that you cannot manage, honestly.
Yeah.
So when situation will come, then definitely there will some, uh, way that you can figure out and eventually go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to hear, how do you explain your research to your kid? How do you explain what you do? Because it's such like a technical thing, that you're doing. The research that you're doing is like very advanced. Even for the average or even for the other researchers, like it's pretty far outside of my field, and I'm in environmental science as well. Um, and your kid is 3 now, and how do you tell him about what you do?
Um, Basically, I honestly I don't you know uh, discuss anything about the research. So
Yeah.
whenever I'm in the lab, so basically, definitely, he really missed me a lot. So he's trying to asking his mom, like, okay, where is the daddy,
Yeah.
daddy, something like this.
Yeah.
And eventually, when I come back, so basically, he really missed me a lot compared to his mom, honestly. So that's
Oh,
why when I come back from the lab, and eventually it's not like, because he's not even fluent yet, uh, and
right.
but I try to communicate with him with lots of fun things and other fairy
Yeah.
stuff, not like research, because it's kind of
Yeah.
difficult for him to take, for now. But
Yeah.
maybe when times comes, definitely, and eventually lots of time I need to discuss my research with my wife. Sometimes
Right.
she got bored. Oh, what you're talking about? And I know my, yeah, so similar thing will happen to my child. But yeah, so
Yeah.
whenever I'm done with my lab or something, I come back and just try to enjoy time with my kid. And yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's a skill that I have not mastered, being able to compartmentalize my life. And I
Mhm.
think if I had children or something, I might be kind of like, it's much more, you gotta do that. You gotta do that so that you can be aware for your kids. But I'm like sitting here, and now these days my office is like 5 feet from my bedroom.
Uh-huh.
So I just I just always I'm just always working. It's honestly it's pretty exhausting. I need to figure out better how to compartmentalize that, but I haven't been able to do it. Uh,
Yeah, and another thing is having a kid is kind of your, uh, you will not have that much, free time, because
right.
whenever you are done with your, work, or eventually I'm doing TAing and lab work, so you need to spend some time with them. So that's the thing, like it is
Right.
the, part that you need to, consider. But other than that, I think it's pretty smooth. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you have any tips or tricks for me for compartmentalizing your life? Like how do you turn that switch off? Do you like disconnect your emails or something like that? Or
uh, No, not like that. So, yeah, the good thing is, for now, as I mentioned, like my wife is not going to school. So that's the very good, thing for me for now. But other than that, if both of we are going to school, then definitely we need to keep him in the childcare or something. And during this pandemic, I don't know, so it is even difficult. I don't even think about that.
Right.
But the thing is, I believe, like, okay, so if you have something, then definitely there is something, you will find something that you can, you will definitely able to figure out how to deal with that time management, and eventually how you want to be, how you want to manage your time and spend some time with your kids and this kind of stuff. And good thing is, this year basically it was COVID situation, so that's a kind of staying at home and spending more time with my family and even my kids. That's a good thing. But if I am basically normal time, definitely I need to stay in the lab. And eventually, yeah, that's the difficult part. Like, okay, eventually, when you are working in the lab, you feel tired, right? And when you come back, so that's the different part you need to manage, actually. So somehow it is okay for me, but I don't have any straightforward like tips like, okay, you need to do this, follow this kind of stuff. But somehow I'm kind of okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, good. It sounds like whatever you're doing is working for you, and
Yeah.
that's great. So what are you doing outside of your research these days? Are you doing anything with your kids, or going to hikes or anything like that?
So basically, apart from research, as I mentioned, like due to the COVID, basically I got chance to spend more time with my family. So I basically stay in my desk, but still I have time to go there. But apart from research, what I do, I really like to spend time with my kid, and eventually I try to go out, because COVID situation, some of the things are not been restricted now. So for example, sometimes go to the easy hike, or eventually play with my kids, and eventually the Lego, lots of puzzle things. And
Oh, cool.
my kid, my kid like cars, and he kind of kind of LA traffic, if you consider like lots of different cars, different size, okay, small to medium to large. So he can, so I can help him with that. And eventually, so he enjoy lots of cartoon things, in the YouTube. So sometimes my wife says like, okay, I even enjoy more than my kid. So because when the cartoon is on the TV, basically I enjoy a lot. So it's basically enjoying cartoon with my kids. And another thing is like my wife and me, we enjoy eat different kinds of food, and it's basically our Bangladeshi foods. So we cook a lot, almost every day. So that's the another thing I need to do. And some of the dish that I am expert, so I help my wife to cook things, So this is how like life is going, like apart from research. Yeah.
I bet the food at your house is really great. What are some of your favorite dishes that you cook?
Okay, so you have some idea about the biryani, right?
Biryani.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
So
little. It's like rice and
rice and
vegetables kind of cooked together, right?
and eventually different kind of meat. So if you wanna make the chicken biryani, then you need to add the chicken and rice and different spices, lots of spices. So this kind of dish kind of heavy. And if you look at my face now, I'm kind of gaining weight, and due to COVID and this kind of lots of carb and this kind of stuff. Yeah, and lots of meat, different kind of meat like beef, chicken, and like if you have some idea about kind of Indian foods, it's lots of spices, right? So yeah.
Is your family originally from India?
No. I'm from Bangladesh, and eventually we
Bangladesh.
are neighboring country, right? India, because Bangladesh, very few people
Yeah.
know about Bangladesh. But when it is India, it's basically greater subcontinent: Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I've never been to Bangladesh. I've been to India, all around there. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. I love the food, and
Mm-hmm.
but I want to go to Bangladesh someday. I
Sure.
After COVID, that's on
COVID,
my
yeah.
list for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
We have some nice places to visit, basically, So whenever you get time, just yeah, give it a try.
yeah,
Yeah,
I certainly
and
will.
it's super cheap for sure.
Yeah,
Like India, yeah.
yeah. I have actually my postdoc
Mhm.
research is going to be in Varanasi,
Oh,
studying trash in the rivers there with a nonprofit group that's out there.
uh-huh.
So I'll be pretty close.
Oh,
I don't know
really?
what the restrictions are like traveling like directly from India to Bangladesh, but I'll definitely look into that.
I
Post
think you.
COVID, it seems like
Yeah,
it's
I
even
think.
hard to get into India these days.
Oh,
Um,
that's cool.
just
You will not get any restriction for sure. You just only need to get a, uh, you know, visa, something like this. That's it, and it's pretty easy for our country. Yeah,
great. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
yeah.
Um, so in what are your what are your future goals in your life?
Yeah, future goal is basically finishing my very third project, successfully, because this project is pretty, complex,
Yeah,
honestly. Two different kind of cells, and the cells, it needs around one and a half month in the, cell culture plate. So
yeah.
there is lots of chance of contamination, which good luck for me. So
Oh
this is the
no.
thing, and eventually I'm flexible for more both academia and industry, honestly.
Cool.
Yeah, so and my expertise on health effect, risk assessment, and human health. So I will try to focus some. The first priority is basically maybe postdoc in the top school. This is the
Yeah,
first plan. Then maybe doing postdoc in some you know research organization like national lab or some research
right.
organization. That will be the second postdoc, and eventually lots of industry, like there are some pharmaceutical company, so they have a toxicology and health effect, uh, basically toxicity of the drug or anything, health safety assessment, this kind of department. So I'm also planning to look at that position also. And yeah, that's pretty much my planning. Like, okay, but I'm kind of open for both academia, and I'm not like, oh, I'll be the professor or I'll be the
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, that leaves all of your options open. So I mean, you're
yeah,
gonna definitely find something that'll work for you.
uh, yeah.
Do you have a specific location where you think you'd like to live for your next phase of life, the postdoc, or maybe working in industry?
Yeah, so basically, I like California most. I was
Yeah.
in the Tennessee, Nashville. Nashville also a pretty good city. It's a big city. Yeah, compared to Riverside, honestly. But
Hmm.
we are nearby the biggest city, right? California, LA. Yeah, so if I can get some position in the California, definitely I will take it. But again, you know for the future goal, I'm kind of open to relocate any place. So the thing is, if I get something that is in the east coast or eventually the midwest,
Right.
I'm okay to take that also. So
Yeah.
it depends on my options, right? But
Yeah.
I will definitely prefer to stay in California.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
Mhm.
So you said you were hiking some trails here in Southern California, some like short trails and stuff. You mostly hiking here around Riverside? I've been like really into hiking lately.
Hiking is like, for example, the two tree trail and eventually the
Yeah.
sycamore and this kind of trail. It's not like, okay, for example, I can even go to the botanical garden, right?
Yeah.
Eventually the just walking, and basically I can get the stroller for my kid, and
Right.
eventually I can walk smoothly, this kind of stuff. Sometimes I need to um, yeah, it's difficult, like if you have your kid and you need to run, you know
Yeah.
the stroller and something like this. So you have to
Yeah.
think wisely, like which one you are gonna choose. Yeah. So, but I'm not like super, hiker.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I like it, but I cannot manage it with my kid and my wife.
Right.
So that's why I need to think it carefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Two Trees Trail is actually pretty hard. It's like really steep.
Yeah, but I didn't make it like all the way because it is
Yeah.
difficult. So yeah.
Sometimes I don't either. It just depends on the day. How
Yeah.
I'm feeling.
So how about your, you like hiking, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. This year, so we're thinking about doing winter hiking
Mm-hmm.
around the mountains around here.
Wow.
Um, so basically, we got these snowshoes,
Uh-huh.
and once it snows really, really deep on the mountains, we'll
Uh-huh.
take those out. And I think we're gonna try to hit up San Gorgonio this year, which is like the largest peak out here. Last year we tried to do it, and we both got elevation sickness,
Mm-hmm.
and it was miserable. So we're hoping that this year we're gonna be stronger and
I
that
see.
we'll be able to make it to the top and not feel sick or anything. But it's so
Mm-hmm.
cool. Going snowshoeing in the winter is so cool because you
Yeah,
can go straight up the mountains. Like you don't have to follow a path or anything like that. You just
exactly.
go.
Yeah.
There's just snow everywhere, and so it's
Mm-hmm.
like in the snowshoes, especially if it's the right kind of snow consistency, they make everything like a staircase. So even if it's really steep, it's just like a staircase going straight up. You can get
Yeah.
up stuff really quick. And then we get to like sled down off
Mm-hmm.
of off of the top of these mountains. We might even try to bring up our snowboards or something like that this year. And see if we can do it.
Yeah. That's really cool. I'm also interested to do that. Maybe when my kid will grow up and eventually, yeah, let him turn into 10, 12, or 15. So that
Yeah.
time, yeah, not now.
Then,
but,
yeah,
but
then he'll be encouraging the adventure.
yeah. Yeah. So I have a plan to do that also. So just share your experience like when you are done with that.
I will. Yeah. Yeah, I've been really into the mountain hiking, trying to do the winter sports. We've been really into rock climbing too. That's another big thing that I'm just totally obsessed with rock climbing. I climb
Mhm.
every single week. Um, this week we'll be going to Joshua Tree, or maybe we won't. I'm not sure because I think there was just like a stay-at-home order that was put in place. I
Yeah.
saw that. I need to read into it and figure out if I'm not allowed to go climbing or what exactly it entails. But
Yeah, it's kind of curfew, like maybe 10 p.m. to early 5
right,
a.m., maybe during the night. So
right, yeah,
it's kind of curfew for 1 month.
right.
Yeah, I haven't eventually, look at this carefully, but I
Yeah.
just heard about this. Oh, okay, there is a curfew and yeah, it should be executed from
Yeah,
next Saturday, maybe this Saturday. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I just briefly read it while I was working. So
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I got some other questions we can talk about. So uh, I remember I was reading through your research gate and you've published a couple of papers. I'd love to hear about your personal experience um, publishing those papers. How'd you get them off the ground and get them to publication?
Oh yeah, so every research is kind of it has different what is called uh, parameters. So basically, my take is like working when you are working on a project, definitely you have some goal, right? Okay, you will get this kind of data, right? And
Yeah,
then if you are lucky, then definitely you will get all kinds of data that you are aiming for, right? And
yeah,
eventually based on that you can select the different kind of journal based on their impact factor, reputation, this kind of stuff. So
right,
I did the similar thing. Basically I like it, and eventually this is kind of good way when you know uh, uh, basically write a template of your research. Okay, this will be the figure, this will be the table, and this will be my experiment, this kind of stuff. Then it's kind of easy for you to decide or eventually achieve the goal. Okay, what you want to do. So this is how I did my very first project, and I'm lucky that I was able to get it done by due time and eventually publish it.
Yeah.
And the good thing is I didn't get rejection.
Yeah,
so
great.
so that's the thing. But we needed to spend lots of time answering the reviewers' comment. So first two project was like that, and third project is kind of I'm playing like, okay, what kind of data I can get, and eventually what kind of journal I can choose. And yeah, so and you have like idea about that, like, okay, when you're working with something, definitely lots of things can happen. And I'm working on the cells and different kind of particles. Sometimes cells got contaminated, and eventually that's the difficult part, and cell is not working properly. So that's the scenario that you need to think about. Okay, based on your timeline and your challenges, or some of your possible reason that might affect your research or something. So if you think about that and eventually work accordingly, and this is how I got you know you know get published my first two paper. And eventually another thing I want to share, my second paper is on secondary organic aerosol. We had a collaboration with uh, Roya. So basically we generate some secondary organic aerosol in the chamber, and it's basically got the huge media coverage because it's kind of Salton Sea's. So basically Roya published lots of paper on Salton Sea. So Salton Sea's air quality is really, really bad, and lots of asthma patients around the Salton Sea area, right? So that's why it has a great, public health, importance of our study. And it's published on the ESNT, and it's been covered through UCR News and lots of
Wow, impressive.
National or international, magazines or something, they publish that. But yeah, that's really interesting thing, and I really proud to work on that project because it kind of directly correlate with some locations public health issues. And how the and this is kind of novel thing that we did. So secondary organic aerosol is kind of new, and we expose it to the human lung cell and see, okay, it's kind of affecting human lung cells.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know it's there's all these complicated interactions with all these chemical interactions to create the SOAs, and then I'm sure there's like there's this like diverse suite of secondary organic aerosols that are out there. And then those are also causing a variety of different challenges for the lung cells and stuff. So it's a lot to research. It's a lot to learn there. It's still a really new field, and that's cool. That's cool research. One thing that I always think about when I'm trying to publish something, one thing that takes me a lot of time is like graphical design of figures.
Okay.
I just obsess over it. I don't know. I just go back and forth and like like 10 different figures to do the same thing until it looks exactly the way that I want it to look. I don't know if that's the same thing for you, or if it's a lot more straightforward.
Oh yeah, no, it's not as straightforward. Yeah, sometimes I had some problem with, for example, making some figure, or eventually data analysis. That's the difficult part, and I needed to collaborate with other department for that. Eventually, sometimes I don't have expertise on that, so I needed to collaborate with someone. And some of the figure, they need some expertise, for example, but I don't have that expertise, for example, bioinformatics or something. So I'm getting some experience on that, this kind of stuff. And eventually I can remember for my, the gasoline exhaust particle. So I needed to make a figure. It's called principal component analysis. So I can get that done with the SPSS. I can get the value of the principal component 1 and 2, but I cannot draw the figure. So I got the help from one of my friend. So this is how like some different challenges come, and eventually you can stuck in some places. Then you have to overcome like what you want to do.
Yeah. Oh man, principal component analysis. That always feels like whenever I see those kind of plots, it's like some sort of witchcraft or something. Like what do those axes really mean? Like what do they really mean?
Yeah.
I see this spreading the data out, but I like just can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah. Now basically, it is kind of good thing, like if you can learn some tools like R. So I'm kind of still learning on learning the R. So if you are okay with that, then I think it's kind of easier for research, I believe. So so over the time I'm getting experience on that. So I believe I need to put more time on that and become an expert analyzing data and everything. But so far I'm good with that, and let's see how come.
I think there's like an ideal amount of time to spend on R and stuff, because so I'm like obsessed with coding and doing R and stuff, and I think that's why I make so many figures. I'm just like, I can just code it like automatically, and just go for it. Okay, let's flip the axes. Let's like change it this way. And so because I do so much coding, I like sink a lot of my time into doing that. And then I sometimes end up getting a little too distracted when I should be doing lab work and other things that are, much more actually collecting the data. And I'm over here just like twiddling my fingers around and trying to code something that I really want to do. And so anyways, I think there's a sweet spot. It sounds like you're doing great because you're already published in the top 2 journals and stuff. So
but I agree with you. I basically, when I working into the wet lab, I feel like, okay, this is kind of mainstream. But when I'm working with, because I needed to do some cluster high performance computer clustering work, basically for RNA sequencing, when I am in the HPCC system. So I need to write the code script. So basically when I'm working heavily on that part, that time I think like, oh, okay, this is the mainstream. Dry lab is the mainstream. So this is the thing. Basically it is kind of difficult, like shifting to the wet lab to dry lab is kind of challenging. I also feel that, like, whenever you are coding, you're okay. So you're habituated with it. Okay, code this. But whenever you're giving a pause, okay, let me do some wet lab and get some data. That time you have really great transition, right?
It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard for me to get into that zone because I'm not doing it all the time. So I'm like, hold on, has the pipette work again? Okay, that's how it works, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it's all a balancing act. We're just trying to figure out how to find the best balance out there. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the podcast. I'd love to shout out any social media accounts that you have, or how can people get in contact with you if they want to reach out.
Can you please repeat that?
Sorry. I'd love to shout out any social media accounts that you have, like if you have LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook or anything like that, with the way or ResearchGate that you'd like people to use to get in contact with you or follow your work.
I have my social media contact, like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, definitely.
Oh, cool.
So so feel free to share, and eventually I would love to get the link, and eventually I can also share that for sure.
Great. Yeah.
Mhm,
I'll definitely be sharing through the UC Science. It's the UC underscore Science Twitter.
mhm. Okay.
Um, I'll share on that, and I'll be sharing everything from this episode and your bio and your photo that you shared too. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
great. We'll share through there, and then we'll also share through the email thread for the entire graduate or the entire department.
Yeah.
We've been getting some cool feedback on that and stuff too. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much again for joining, and thanks for sharing your time. I wish we were closer together, but you know, for now we have to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Thank you, in for your invitation. And eventually, I really enjoyed talking with you about my, research and life. How are things? This is kind of different, apart from, uh,
Yeah,
research. Yeah. Talking about my, kid, and eventually, yeah. So that's kind of different. Thank you for your, uh, invitation, and I really enjoyed this episode. Thank you.
I really enjoyed talking with you too.
Mhm.
I hope to see you very soon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Bye bye.